Wondersomefull Quest. Grown-ups are the peculiar teachers of the rules. They often speak confusing thoughts and make odd choices. The rules they teach but don't always keep can seem strange and difficult to understand or remember. However, if you're not yet all the way grown up to being an adult, it's best to learn the rules. Knowing the rules helps you to win the crown of true freedom. The first rule, which is often the most disappointing rule, is adult rule number 1. Kids don't make the rules. The second rule, which is much more fun than the first rule, is adult rule number 2. Kids have the power to choose. The third rule, which tells the truth with pleasant and painful honesty, is adult rule number 3. Sometimes it's fun to be a kid, and sometimes it's not. There are many rules beyond the first 3. Rules are not easily remembered. They require the effort they are worth, the effort they deserve. Pay attention. Do your best to remember. Win the crown. Number 1. Kids don't make the rules. Number 2. Kids have the power to choose. Number 3. Sometimes it's fun to be a kid and sometimes it's not. Number 4. It's fun to be a kid when Grandma pretends to be in charge. Prior to the see you soon hugs and kisses, Papa and Mama told Robert, Maria, and Michael to listen to Grandma. If the 3 mischief makers made too much trouble for Grandma while Papa and Mama went on their date, then Papa and Mama would not be taking them on an adventure to the library castle in the very near future. Robert, Maria, and Michael professed their sincere intention to be good. As soon as the window goodbye waves were finished, Big Brother, Big Sister, and Little Brother shared their ideas with Grandma. "I've got an idea," said Robert. "What's your idea?" asked Grandma. "Let's watch a video." "I've got an idea," said Maria. "What's your idea?" asked Grandma. "Let's eat a treat." "I've got an idea," said Michael. "What's your idea?" asked Grandma. "Let's eat a treat and watch a video." Robert and Maria agreed with Michael's idea. Soon everyone was sitting on the couch chewing gum and watching a video of Grandpa's latest hunting expedition. The videos and treats were countless due to the children's fond memory canvas being limited to numerals of 7. Robert watching 70 videos and eating 700 treats. Maria watching 70,000 videos and eating 7,000 treats. Michael eating 7 treats and watching 70 million videos. The reliability of such honest reports adamantly being contested by Grandma, of course. After enjoying countless videos and treats, Grandma continued to pretend that she was in charge of her supervision of the children's continued ideas. Ideas such as charades, dance party, make-believe, wrestle grandma, pillow fights, pillow park, and off of the lava pillow stones. Their ideas were ceaseless notions that filled the home with bouncing, climbing, jumping, laughing, running, playing, and more playing. When the children ran out of ideas, they came up with clever plans to keep Grandma in charge of their good-hearted mischief. Eventually, Grandma was able to feed the children, start bath time, get them into their pajamas, play dentist teeth doctor, and read them a story in bed. Much to the fun seekers' delight, bedtime story was turned upside down. Grandma fell asleep soon after she began reading the first few pages of the story. Robert discovered this advantageous development and swiftly gave the signal for his fellow merrymakers to keep sneaky. The keep sneaky signal meant whisper voices and walking softly. Their lively spirits were tamed by their silent commitment. Big brother, big sister, and little brother eased the book out of Grandma's hands and gently placed it back onto the bookshelf from whence it came. They lovingly draped a family quilt over Grandma's lap, sealing her slumber with a tender kiss for good measure, and tiptoed into the bedroom closet. The closet became their hiding place when Big Sister silently closed the door and joined her brothers gathered round the hiding place lantern. It was there that they attentively whispered their innocent conspiracy into existence. "Do you want to join me in my plan?" asked Big Brother. "Yes," said Big Sister and Little Brother. "Let's get the Wondersomefull book from Papa and Mama's room and have ourselves a wondersomefull adventure. Do you want to join me in this plan?" "Yes," said Robert's willing cohorts. The three adventurers shared a solemn resolve that seemed to melt away their surrounding shadows. "Michael, you tiptoe to Papa and Mama's room. Carefully bring the Wondersomefull book back to us." "Okay," said Michael. With grateful pride, Little Brother set out to accomplish his honorable mission. The song that Papa had taught to all three of these merry mischief-makers sang harmoniously in their sneaky little heads. "Tip-toe, whisper as we go. Tip-toe, whisper as we go. Tip-toe." They were all united in each feathery step of their little brother, joined together in the purest intention of their souls, in total surrender to their shared goal. In their here and now focus, they were one stealthy little butterfly step with one tiny little serious breath. Tip-toe, whisper as we go. Tip-toe. Michael triumphantly returned with the Wondersomefull book raised high above his head. Big Brother and Big Sister welcomed him back with sincere affection. "Good work, brother. Well done," they whispered. Michael grew a bit bigger when he received the appreciation of his older siblings. Robert eased the book to the floor and opened it with hushed reverence. The first page displayed the mark of Papa's Papa. The children understood that mark to be the book's original explorer. They shared their gaze with one another, dedicated to the quest that awaited them in the Wondersomefull pages. Number 5. Wonder is filled with a quest for more. As Robert read the first sentence of the Wondersomefull book, their shared story began. These three kindred spirits were transported to a world beyond the norm. "Upon this present time, this everlasting now, we stand firm in the reality of our existence." With that first sentence, they entered the Wondersomefull world of the Wondersomefull book. The Wondersomefull world they suddenly found themselves in was pitch black. A tiny light beckoned from far away. No words were necessary. They knew, all at once, that they needed to work their invisible legs towards the distant light. Work they did, one grateful step at a time. With each step their hearts gave thanks for the adventure, and with each thank you the greater the light grew. Soon enough they came to realize that the tiny light was actually a giant sign. This enormous sign was made of multicolored flames floating in the pitch-black sky above their wide-opened eyes. Their eyes saw clearly what was burning above them. Wondersomefull Quest. Michael was pleasantly surprised by his first-time ever ability to read. With tremendous awe, the joy burst from his heart as he cried out in a roar louder than he had ever roared before. "Hooray!" Joining Michael's roar, all three cried out louder than loud. so loud that their sound reached beyond their ears and into the silence of their united heart as they ascended into the Diver's fire, into the quest, into the fight, to the sacred battle, to the promise of something more than ever before. Passing through the colorful fire, the Wondersomefull world shifted from surrounding darkness to a vibrant vision best described as paradise. This paradise was an invisible veil for the most wondersomefull being, so wonderful that it is impossible to dream up anything greater than this mostest wonderful being. The air in this paradise hid a magical sound. To hear this magic, the listener needed to give full attention with listener's listening breath. With each breath, the sounds of joyful instruments and harmonious choir voices could be listened to. Echoey thumb pianos, then tender harps, were the first instruments to be heard. The choir began with a few voices from a distance, then gradually grew in size as it moved closer. With each breath, the listener became aware of another instrument playing and another choir voice singing. The more the listener surrendered to the listening part of the listener's mind, heart, and body, the more the magical sound was heard in the deepest depth of the listener's incarnate soul. Wondersomefull day, today, today. Wondersomefull day, today, today. We will have a wondersomefull day. Hooray, hooray, hooray. Today is our wondersomefull day. A peaceful stillness lay hidden in the wondersomefull song. Inside the hopeful melody of the song was a symphony of silence waiting to be discovered. The quiet crescendo danced with all the lovely colors. Each color vibrated with expanding spectrum as the children surrendered to the stillness inside them. Robert, Maria, and Michael began to move forward side by side, soaking in the brilliance of the Wondersomefull paradise. This paradise was illuminated by a mysterious light that comforted them like a warmy, cozy, cuddly blanket. Never had they felt such warmth. Their hearts welled up with abundant love. As their little hearts grew and grew, so too did their little bodies. They grew and grew to full grown-ups. Side by side they continued to march forward with their big grown-up bodies. As they marched further into the Wondersomefull paradise, each of them transformed into the grown-up they had so often dreamt of becoming. Robert was a brave knight, Maria was a radiant queen, Michael was a gentle giant. Soon after Michael became a gentle giant, he lifted Big Brother and Big Sister to each of his shoulders so that they could all share the view from above. They could see endless miles ahead of their journey. The smiles on their faces could not be restrained. Before them was an everlasting fountain of adventure which they were wonderfully happy to drink from. Onward they went. Number 6. Proper purpose must be fulfilled to reach full potential. The world of wonder was alive with inspired beauty. At the distant horizon, the grown-up children witnessed a majestic mountain. Upon the sovereign mountain's peak stood a golden city that served as the source of illumination for the Wondersomefull world. The golden city flashed an unquenchable fire. The heat of this intrinsic fire was the undoubtable warmth felt on the tall children's skin. With a canopy of rainbow clouds above the golden city, The relentless flames of the mountain's crown burst beyond the colorful heavens to create a prismatic atmosphere with immeasurable beauty spread aloft the entire paradise. As the children took in the vivid firmament, they began to realize the timeless truth of fulfillment. The purpose of the clouds was understood to be a marvelous prism that made known the splendor of the golden city's exalted fire. In fulfilling this ultimate purpose, the clouds fulfilled their existence. Turning around to see how far this astounding beauty stretched, the young adventurers became aware of the limitless ocean that surrounded the Wondersomefull paradise. The Wondersomefull world was a Wondersomefull island. Before their attention became disoriented, the golden city called them again. The city pulled them further into their adventure. The city commanded their attention, drawing them forward to rise beyond themselves, to reach their highest height, to discover their full potential. Not only were the children much taller than before, they were quickly becoming much wiser as well. Big brother, big sister, and giant little brother bowed their heads in cherished humility. When they looked up, Robert, Maria, and Michael were ignited to blaze a path towards the golden city, towards the promise of true fulfillment. Number 1, kids don't make the rules. Number 2, kids have the power to choose. Number 3, sometimes it's fun to be a kid and sometimes it's not. Number 4, it's fun to be a kid when grandma pretends to be in charge. Number 5, wonder is filled with a quest for more. Number 6, proper purpose must be fulfilled to reach full potential. Number 7, suffer in silence. Soon after the first step, an enormous wall rose out of the ground. A sign was posted at the top of the wall, directly in front of the adventurers. Robert read the sign. "Smash down this wall. It's allowed." "Should we smash it?" asked Michael. "We could climb over it," suggested Maria. "We should smash it down," Robert insisted. "It's allowed." "Michael?" asked Maria. "Smash!" answered Michael. All three joined in one loud shout as Michael smashed down the giant wall. Smash! The wall toppled. The adventurers moved forward. With each step, the children sank lower, lower, and lower. The pace gradually slowed to a halt. When they looked down, they could see that Michael was buried to his waist in rusty yellow sand. Robert and Maria were panic-stricken to realize that Michael was continuing to sink below the ground. As Michael continued to sink deeper and deeper beneath the pyrite sand, Robert spotted a life-size sandcastle with a gray light glowing at the top of its tower. Big Brother was willing to churn to any answer that might prevent the loss of his baby brother. The only answer within his grasp appeared to be a faint light at the top of a giant sandcastle. Desperate for help, Robert leaped off little brother's shoulders and charged towards the castle. Thankfully, the sand did not cause him to sink. Unfortunately, a large moat filled with hungry crocodiles prevented him from storming the castle. With burning lungs, he cried out for help. A drawbridge was lowered and the gate was opened. Robert, the big brother, ran past the gate. The drawbridge immediately raised, swallowing the brave knight inside the belly of the castle's darkness. A large wolf, standing upright, twice the size of Robert, with fur of silver that glowed in the shadows, materialized from the dark. "Welcome to my kingdom. How may I assist you?" Robert's concern for his sinking brother allowed him to push past the shock of a talking wolf. My baby brother is sinking beneath the ground. Please help us."
"Yes, of course he is. This world is not so wonderful,"
snarled the wolf.
"Fortunately for you and yours, it is my pleasure to fix this curse."
The gate swiftly opened. The drawbridge lowered once more. Robert ran back to his sinking brother. Little brother was silent with selfless courage, doing his best to stay brave, not wanting to harm big sister and big brother with his anguish. Giant little brother swallowed his pain with stoic grace. Michael's arms were buried beneath the sand, and big sister was pulling on baby brother's collar with all her might as big brother arrived to the rescue. The wolf somehow rose from behind Queen Maria out of the rusty ground, wearing a purplish robe made of lion hide.
"Here I am to your rescue," growled the wolf. "Drink this potion and all will be made right."
The wolf held out a bronze chalice. Maria hesitated, then turned to Robert. Robert looked at Michael as his chin began to disappear, and in defeat pleaded with Maria, "What other choice do we have?" Maria lowered her eyes in agreement and drank from the chalice, then handed the potion to Robert. Robert drank as well, then poured the rest into Michael's frightened mouth. The children fell asleep and instantaneously woke up on top of the lowered drawbridge. Though the bewildering turn of events was a whirlwind of confusion, the children were able to recognize that the grown-ups they dreamt of being were no more. They were back to their natural selves with their smaller kid shoes to fill. Disappointment in being ordinary kids again was replaced with ecstatic gratitude for the rescue of little brother. Big brother and big sister hugged baby brother with unfathomable love. All three were united as one in their bond of self-surrender to one another. Number 8. Speak up and listen carefully. The jubilation was abruptly interrupted by a bloodthirsty howl.
"You are welcome," growled the wolf.
"Thank you," the children shamefully responded. The wolf grinned and took a bow.
"Allow me to introduce myself. You may call me Lord Lamech. I am the truth-teller to the lied to, the righter of wrongs, the accuser of the guilty, the liberator of the oppressed, the hope for the hopeless, the guide to your quest. I shall grant you what you seek."
"What we seek?" Maria asked.
"What we seek, Lord Lamech,"
the wolf prompted as he raised his bronze scepter high above the children's heads. "What we seek, Lord Lamech?" Maria embarrassedly complied. The children were puzzled, yet their attention remained captivated by Lord Lamech's gravelly voice.
"Yes."
Robert regained his composure and spoke up for his siblings. "What we seek is—"
"Lord Lamech, if you please,"
the wolf corrected. "Lord Lamech, what we seek is to reach the Golden City."
"Yes, the city you seek shall be the city I grant you without delay."
"Without delay?" Michael asked. Lord Lamech waited for Michael to correct himself. Maria whispered into Michael's ear. "Without delay, Lord Lamech?" Michael sheepishly piped. Pleased with the children's submission, the wolf answered with a grin that stretched to a smile.
"Yes, your passage to the city is much easier with my merciful guidance. Without delay, I say, and so without delay it shall be."
The raised scepter came crashing down upon the center of the drawbridge. Lord Lamech slammed it down with such force that it spiked firmly into the timber. The sound of the scepter piercing the wood was the sound of a bass drum. Slowly, the first peculiar beat of the drum was followed by a second, and then a third, and so on it went as though it were a dying heartbeat. Lord Lamech eyed each of the children until they averted their faces away from his leer. The children's timid view settled on the bronze staff that proclaimed Lord Lamech's authority. Lord Lamech then fixed his robe to the scepter. A gust of wind lifted the robe to create the image of a sail. The waters of the moat grew with such speed that they threw the drawbridge into the air. That frantic leap caused the drawbridge chains to break loose from the castle. The heavy chains landed on both sides of the children, nearly striking them to death. Lord Lamech took command of his ship.
"Grab hold of the chains, lest you be tossed overboard into the dangerous waters."
At that moment, several crocodiles made themselves known near the submerging castle tower, hissing their sinister chorus.
"Come on over, dive right in. The water's warm, goes good with your skin."
The children let go of each other and gripped the chains. The rough waters heaved the chains and separated the children. The castle was deep below Lord Lamech's ship. The moat waters were now joined together to form a wide river headed out to sea. "Excuse me, Lord Lamech," Robert asked with one hand raised in the air and the other gripped tight to the chain.
"Yes."
"We're headed in the wrong direction." The wolf reminded Robert of the respect that he expects to be addressed with.
"You are forgetting something. Remember who you dare to address."
Robert acknowledged the error. "We're headed in the wrong direction, Lord Lamech." The wolf leaned in, nose to nose.
"Then perhaps your thinking is wrong. This is the direction you've got."
Maria interjected. "But we're headed to the ocean. We need to go to the Golden City, Lord Lamech." The wolf switched noses before she finished saying his name.
Well. Little Miss Know-It-All seems to know where she wants to go."
"We want to go to the Golden City," Michael shouted as he dropped his chain and stood as tall as he possibly could. Before the wolf could switch noses, Robert joined in, dropping his chain. Standing taller than ever before, he united his voice to Michael's. "We want to go to the Golden City!" Maria gripped the hands of her brothers and joined the chanted mutiny. "We want to go to the Golden City! We want to go to the Golden City! We want to go to the Golden City! We want to go to the Golden City!" Lord Lamech was stunned by the unexpected uprising, so much so that his fur no longer glowed. Yet he craftily shifted his tactic before all the momentum could be lost.
Very well. If it is the city you seek, then the city it shall be."
The ship slingshotted toward the mountain. What once was a river headed to sea had become a flash flood breaking through the sand on its way to the center of the island. The wolf grabbed hold of the scepter as the ship unexpectedly dropped down a surprise waterfall. The waterfall brought them to a swampy river with twists and turns that incrementally slowed down the speed of their voyage. Lord Lamech took the helm. The swampy river cut through the sand, creating a valley below parallel walls of rusty yellow cliffs. Though the ship crawled at the speed of a worm, The sand cliffs rose as tall as mountains, faster than the children could blink. As if a light switch had been turned off, the ship of Lord Lamech quickly drifted from the light of day to the darkness of the valley's shadow. From day to sudden night, the children were cold and discouraged, wishing for an end to their adventure, for the safety of their cozy home. All they could think to do was cuddle up to each other in one united hug. The river sludged through the eroded rock. The darkened desert valley was filled with an eerie stillness. As the ship crept forward, dead oak trees began to appear on the opposite sides of the river. The ancient oaks were clothed in Spanish moss. Their ghoulish branches stretched over the murky waters to form a gloomy tunnel that strangled the last sliver of light out of the children's sight. Lord Lamech's silver coat languidly began to glow again with cruel leisure. The dull gray light was barely bright enough to illuminate the outline of his face, the cloudy lenses of his eyes, and his scarlet-stained teeth. He leaned in to whisper into their petrified huddle, "Surely you will not die, for I am your trustworthy guide." The wolf then straightened up. The dull glow of his silver fur brightened to a neon light. Lord Lamech shined with an intimidating intensity that created the glitz and glimmer impression of fake gold. "All hands on deck," growled the wolf. The siblings' hands were ripped away from one another by some sort of invisible force and became fixed to the wolf's raft. "Man the chains," growled Lord Lamech. The chains wrapped around the children's waists, then linked together at the ends, tight enough to cause the slightest discomfort. The discomfort was slight enough to go unnoticed. In spite of their bondage, the children were filled with the nostalgic pleasure of riding in the family minivan. They were amused by Captain Lamech's silver glow of fake glamour. His voice then changed its tone to that of a soft, gentle, silk-coated lamb. "Be not afraid, for I am with you." The children's mouths were sealed with the taste of lollipops. The smell of cotton candy marshmallows stuffed their noses. The spell of everything being A-OK made them happy little zombies, drifting down their magic tunnel ride with their trustworthy guide. Number 9. Freedom consists in having the right to do what we ought. Lord Lamech tapped the top of his scepter with his sharpened claw, then waited. A song crept into the children's shivering ears. The children's voices were dragged behind as they sang in disharmony. "I want to be a something or another in this something or another world. I want to sing a something or another in this something or another world. La, 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 la. I want to be a something or another in this something or another world. I want to sing a something or another in this something or another world. La, 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 la. The craft of Lord Lamech bobbed up and down with the rise and fall of the song. Its rhythm enchanted the children with the fun of a carousel. So enchanted they were that they remained oblivious to the spiraling laps of their meandering. No objection interfered as the children descended down the drain of the river's whirlpool. Nevertheless, a dissatisfied discomfort tormented the pit of their stomachs as the Lord Lamech cruise ship delved the perpetual depths of the river's abyss. The boredom of amusement's delirium had spread to the children's souls when the ship landed atop the frothing mouth of a bottomless cavern. Prolonging their torture, the discordant song lingered. Over and over, again and again, the song swirled around and around the children's dizzy heads until its jingle-jangle strain blurred to a legion of white noise. Unsuspectedly, an odd giraffe-necked, snail-faced, pinwheel-eyed, cartoonish creature with rainbow-striped top hat sprang out of a trapdoor that was hidden in the shadows of the confused youngsters. The lethargic emanation of this specter hollowed the children's defenses and soothed their guts. The body of that goofy critter remained below the dry-docked drawbridge. This partial impression upon the complacent youths was disarming enough for them to be lulled by the comfort of its silliness. As the children were distracted by that abstract beast, the wolf donned his magenta cope from the mast and removed his embedded crozier from the riverboat's timber. With the wolf's adornment of the lion-hide vestment and the ceremonial staff in his grasp, Lord Lamech stood invincible. The prideful restoration of his robe and scepter boosted his stature to a level of haughty high mightiness. The mindless hum of the something or another song faded to empty reverb as the wolf elevated his bronze crook to the chin of the long-necked monster.
Cuddle ye, gobble thee, I present to you the Nabadoo.
Thereupon Lord Lamech's introduction of the silly diversion, the wolf promptly drug his copper-tin crozier off the end of the Nabadoo's chin as if to light a match. From spark to flame to a rabid torch, it was lit. Lord Lamech's serpent staff metamorphosed into a pike with fiery spikes. The children were transfixed. Lord Lamech peered into their hollow eyes with satisfaction before ceremoniously setting fire to the dead branches above. The ancient trees, like dominoes, turned to an unnatural wildfire. Resting in the serene eye of this stupefying inferno, the young one's chilled flesh was heated to contentment. It was then that the appeasing funnel mutated to a whirlwind of Roman candle sparklers which miraculously evolved to a kaleidoscope of fireworks. Harlequin embers mimicking snowflakes fell to the drawbridge and melted away the chains. Unleashed with a sense of bedazzled freedom, the former bondage was erased from the children's memory. They flailed with excitement. As their glee wound down, they seamlessly returned to being entranced by the Nabadoo. The eyes of the Nabadoo spun the children back to their tranquil, invisible tether. When the timing was ripe, the stretched-necked Nabadoo rolled out its party-blower tongue with the sound of a siren whistle, then rapidly wagged its head side to side, with tongue squiggly swiggling, making a cackly-gaggly sound at each waggle. The wagging then halted, and the strange creature swallowed with the swallowing sound of a grown-tube noise stick. It was then that this charming fiend spoke the one and only word that it is capable of speaking. Nabadoo! The unguarded children nervously laughed until their nerves were comfortably numbed by their mindless laughter. Once more, the Nabadoo repeated the entertaining routine before speaking the one and only word it speaks. Nabadoo! The children laughed so hard that they could not remember the reason for their laughter, laughing themselves to exhaustion. Without notice, they fell to sleep in each other's arms, one delirious family cuddle headed to La La Land. Number 10. Meekness Conquers Weakness. The children awoke, stranded on Lord Lamech's drawbridge, startled to find themselves surrounded by an endless sea of lava. The wolf and the Nabadoo were gone. As fear set upon their lonely island, the whisper of the wolf could be heard from the open trapdoor.
"Enter the door in the floor."
They then heard the funny word of the Nabadoo, and off they went. Nabadoo! Below the drawbridge was a giant ladder, simmering with the alchemic glow of Lord Lamech.
"Climb down beneath the ground. Have no fear. It's safe down here."
Lord Lamech beckoned from the distant boughs below. Again they heard the funny Nabadoo sound. Overcome by pleasure, they climbed down, down, down below. With each step of the rung, they craved the silly, giggly Nabadoo sound more and more. Down they hurriedly climbed till they reached the start of a winding trail. The children were delighted to see bright, colorful paper lanterns lighting the downward path ahead. Though spaced apart far enough to have thin shadows between, the vibrant diversity of these brilliant orbs was enough to pacify the children farther down their odyssey. A many-hued dirt path coiled below with no end in sight. They remained ignorant of their fright. Their twisted journey was a passage made palatable by the diver's luster and Nabadoo muckster. The faint call of the Nabadoo resounded from the spellbinding depths of nowhere. From siren whistle to cackly gaggly waggle to groan tube noise stick gobble to the satisfying eruption of the Nabadoo babble. Nabadoo, 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 Nabadoo. The hypnotic jest of the Nabadoo kept the children's docile smiles fixed to their faces as they wandered round the twirling bends of the bottomless pit. So dazed they were, their slumber went undisturbed as they stumbled past the covetous wolves lying beneath the lanterns. These hellish predators were swaddled in shepherd blankets made of ostentatious wool that gratified willfully ignorant minds with shifting colors. The wolves patiently licked their chops, waiting for permission to pounce. Groggily, the careless children shambled past their ravenous enemies. With each churn of their descent, they paid no attention to the threat beneath those pretty lanterns. At every curve of their plunge, in accord with the children's bated vision, their ears continued to be lured below by the liquid song of the Nabadoo. At the center of the looping plummet, they reached the head of their amusement. Though there was an emptiness behind the pinwheel eyes of the Nabadoo, it nonetheless urged the children's mindless steps further and further downward. The children's trance spun round and round, twisting around the Nabadoo's wallowing, hollowing, following, swallowing throat. Further and further down below they went, till they encountered another dead-ending drawbridge. The drawbridge, identical to the one before, rested flat beneath the body of the Nabadoo. The fluffy, fuzzy, blubbery body of the Nabadoo sat behind an open trapdoor. As with the one before, the open door promised the ceaseless tumble of the phantasmal chasm. Spellbound they were, until a painful choking sensation set within their throats. It was as though they had swallowed a mouthful of sand. They became desperate for a drink of water. The pain of deep regret filled their consciences. They noticed Lord Lamech standing beside the door. The open trapdoor now appeared to have a mouthful of jagged teeth. An inexplicable gust then awoke their spirits with the urge to resist. As the gale blew past the children, revival stirred within the band of adventurers. Roused by a revelation of true liberation, they could no longer stomach the injustice of their strange ramble.
"Did you not notice those treacherous wolves?"
Lord Lamech growled.
"Hurry down the pipe before they get you."
Lord Lamech jerked his head towards the pack of wolves closing in at the churn behind. Incredibly, all fear was dispelled from the hearts of the adventurers.
"Be off! Be gone! Batten down the hatches!"
hissed the wolf. The wolf could not contain his rage.
"Bow down, you little wretches! Down the grave where you belong!"
The children held one another's hands. Robert spoke first. "We're not afraid of you, you toothless pup." Then Maria, "We'll be getting back to our adventure now." Michael delivered the culmination of their resistance. "Get behind us, you peeny bad guy!" Robert regained his knighthood. Maria her nobility. Michael began to rise. Quickly, big brother and big sister returned to little brother's shoulders as giant little brother grew bigger than ever. In no time, the adventurers found themselves above the ground, returned to the daylight, delivered from their sunken steps. Their redemption overflowed with abundant jubilation. Giant little brother bent his thankful knees. Big brother and big sister joined alongside him. They bowed their heads in humble gratitude. Number 11. The purpose of goodness is to be good. The children's eyes met the mighty river that circled the majestic mountain. With a burning desire to enter the golden city, their aim set upon the cleansing waters that encompass the feet of the golden city's throne. An endless field of lilies ushered the conclusion of their path to the desired waters. These flawless flowers awaited the adventurers on the other side of the golden desert. It seemed to be a many days' journey to reach this bright wonderland. This land of plentiful white as snow lilies filled the children's nostrils with the sweet smoke of incense. Inspired by the persistent aroma of the not-so-distant censers, Michael stepped forward. The sinking sand no longer sank. It held true as solid rock. The distance to the fragrant lilies became nearer and nearer and nearer till it was near. As their destination grew closer, not only did the distance shrink, so too did brave knight, radiant queen, and gentle giant. Their size shrank from very tall to very tiny, much smaller than ever before. The tiny adventurers arrived at the immaculate field. The venerable lilies towered in a manner that assured the children of how greater still these adventurers could be. Translucent butterflies glided around the candent petals. The butterflies emanated a loving desire to look upon the lilies bloom as the wondersomeful light of the wondersomeful world shined in pure brilliance through the stained-glass wings of their angelic flutter. With such beauty above, the adventurous children grew smaller and taller all at once, to a height beyond any notion of envy. Love they did, love they shared, loved they were. A butterfly appeared before them prostrate, with wings serving as ramps to the seat of his shoulders. "It is time to fly," said the butterfly. Robert said what Maria and Michael were exhilarated to realize. It's time now. Once aboard, the children flew to the heights above. "Welcome to the field of wonder," said the magnificent butterfly. The lilies and their guardian butterflies danced with the clement breeze in a synchronicity of interdependence that painted the air in a many-splendored perfection of silent communion. When the children remembered to breathe, their listening breath heard the wondersomeful song resumed to its familiar crescendo. They drank in the loveliness of it all. The appropriate moment arrived. Maria asked the butterfly, "Please tell us your name, butterfly." The butterfly kindly answered, "Why dost thou ask my name?" "So we may properly speak with you," said Maria. "With respectful manners," added Michael. "We must control our tongue if we strive to be right," Robert declared. "Our code of chivalry keeps us free." "It is good to be considerate," spoke the butterfly. "My name is Myram." Maria shared her thought out loud. "Myram is a wonderful name." "Thank you," Myram smiled. Maria shared the smile. "Thank you, Myram. Are you ready for some good fun?"
Yes, please,
answered the cheerful children. The butterfly glided through the formations of the lilies. The adventurers lifted their voices to express their heart's elation. "Yeah!" shouted Michael. "Hee-hee-hee!" Maria rejoiced. "Dun-dun!" exclaimed Robert. Time lost all its sense of passing. Each moment was fully appreciated, so much so that past and future lifted the children's mind, heart, and body to the present joy of being filled with the goodness of life. The souls of the adventurers harmoniously exalted the joy of living. "Myram," asked Maria, "what is the name of this good fun?" "Love," Myram uttered. "Love," the children uttered. "Love," the lilies uttered. This ecstatic utterance remained in the tranquil breeze that filled the field of wonder. Transcendent joy melted through, with, and in the victorious stillness. From the deepest depth of Maria's spirit arose a silent expression that was shared by all. Love is truly glorious. Number 12. Seek an objective above and beyond deceit. The adventurers were so overtaken by the pleasure of their flight that they had forgotten about the great river. Myram tried to remind them with his question, "Where are you headed?" The children scratched their heads but found no answer. They scratched some more and some more, scratching and scratching and scratching for the answer. Soon they forgot the purpose of their scratching. They scratched some more and some more, scratching and scratching and scratching at a hollow itch to be done away with. Upon their approach to the majestic mountain, as the mighty waters came into view, a rising cloud of white dust appeared before the great river. As that dusty distraction seized their focus, a deathly wind blew past the itchy adventurers. The cloud allured their attention further and further away from Myram's question. As it swirled around their blinded vision, the cloud grew bigger and bigger and beyond big. It grew to a huge white wall that obscured their surrounding view. It grew beyond huge, to a gigantic white wall that covered the sky above and ground below their very distracted eyes. The adventurers feared they were flying into the all-consuming white dust. Strangely, the separation remained. The wall appeared to be drifting farther and farther away from them. The children seemed to be frozen in flight. stuck in the air with fruitless motions, going nowhere, staying put. Without notice, the wall grew brighter and closer. Brighter and brighter and closer the wall advanced till it stopped. 6 feet apart from the hovering children, 6 feet under and above, imprisoned within the wall's domination. The adventurers faced an enormous bright white sterile canvas. The urge to cover the wall with pictures muddled the imaginations of the adventurers. Images made of colored shadows began to appear on the wall. The shadows corresponded to the children's forgotten memories. The noise of sounding brass and tinkling cymbals played. A picture of a giant sandcastle, similar to the Golden City, covered the wall. Then a picture of fireworks, a field of mighty oaks, a dry riverbed leading to a euphoric ocean, a swarm of glowing moths. The razzmatazz of the motion pictures deadened the children in a stupor of sensation. Myram's name was forgotten. Unbeknownst to the children, Myram had been replaced by a phosphorescent dragon.
Where are you going?
Asked the dragon.
We are flying,
mumbled the senseless children. Robert and Michael fell to sleep. Though Maria remained a radiant queen, the form of her slumbering brothers was that of comfortable kids. Maria watched a gray shadow emerge from the colossal levee of dust. The shadow took the form of a blurred beast as it stepped onto the head of the dragon.
Where are you?
Asked the shadow. I am with my brothers, answered Maria.
Where are they?
Asked the shadow. Maria turned to her brothers, then whispered her answer. They are asleep. Her brothers faded out of sight from the consuming darkness of the dull beast. The tiny lights of lightning bugs appeared beneath her. They filled Maria's fears with a false sense of security. She was pacified by the soothing illumination. A gong of thunder rang in Maria's ears, and a flare of lightning gave her a glimpse of the parasitic bugs gorging on devoured flowers. Her sense of safety returned as the night resumed, with the magical fireflies that reminded her of Christmas lights dancing over toys clothed in wrapping paper. Maria then noticed that she was no longer flying on a dragon. She found herself aboard a strange, goose-necked, slug-faced, pink-winged, rainbow-striped, goggled-wearing, familiar creature. "Dabadoo!" honked the flying creature. Maria recognized that this was her cue to giggle, but somehow resisted the urge to do so. It was then that the white wall exploded into a red sandstorm. A gravelly voice whispered in the dust.
What do you seek?
I can't remember, answered Maria. Quickly, Maria's mind was awakened.
Allow me to remind you.
No! Maria rose to her feet.
Who told you to say no?
No! Maria shouted.
You don't want to know where it is that you are going?
I do, Maria answered.
Then surely you want to hear what I have to say.
I don't, Maria persisted.
You don't see that I am trying to help you?
I know who you are, Lamech. I may be blinded by this bloody dust, but I see through your deceit. Get behind us, you puny bad guy! The golden light melted away the dust storm and the pestilent lightning bugs along with it. Brave knight and gentle giant awoke to find themselves aboard Myram the butterfly, The adventurers were encouraged to see warrior Queen Maria standing on top of a giant wolf skull. Michael lifted Maria to his shoulders. Robert struck the skull with his sword, sending it far away from Miriam's virtuous wings. The skull plummeted down its lifeless fall from above. Down, down, down it went. Up and up the children's hearts did lift. Miriam delivered them to the riverside. The children expressed their appreciation for the flight. Miriam offered his admiration of their adventure. They exchanged goodbyes. The friendly butterfly resumed tending the trumpet blooms. Number 13. All will be got. The humble adventurers trembled as they stood on the mighty riverbank. The rush of water created a wind that kissed their faces. They leaned into the invisible force blowing from the powerful rapids. With no bridge or boat in sight, they could not see how to cross the wide torrent. Still, they knew that they belonged on the other side. United in their hope to fulfill this faithful desire, they knelt by the river and surrendered their trust for an answer to the great divine. The face of a giant fish rose out of the torrent. The giant fish, named Ichthys, opened its mouth with the stillness of a sunset. An ancient voice sang the silent answer. Enter this ship and rise on the other side. The children were certain this promise was true. They boarded the gilt-finned ark, undisturbed by the darkness of its tomb. When the adventurers took their seats, the fish's mouth closed. The saving ferry was swallowed beneath the face of the waters, submerged into the deepest depths, truly consecrated for their destined shore. The vessel dove beneath the current. A peaceful light began to illuminate the void. Big brother, big sister, and little brother were comforted by its reminder. Not long ago, the closet lantern had girded their spirits when they embarked on their Wondersomefull Quest. "Where did the light come from?" Michael asked. "I don't know," Maria answered. "Look," Robert pointed. "Where?" they asked. Robert pointed even more to the center of the fish's mouth. All three directed their harmonious sigh of wonder to Big Brother's discovery. There! There the light's source was revealed. There stood a bottle. Within that bottle stood a bright scroll. The scroll was emanating waves of golden light. Within the peaceful pulse of the scroll emerged a song. From hearing ears leapt singing lips. The adventurers sang together with a loving verve that reignited the drive to fulfill their given quest. Their beautiful chant filled the Ichthys chamber with a reposeful warmth that transformed the light into a mysterious fire. As the children sang this Gregorian song, their hearts felt cozier and cozier, steeled in their resolve to reach the golden city. All will be got, 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 all will be got. The chanted flames rippled throughout the big fish. In the midst of the fiery song, with listeners' listening breath, the children heard the silent voice sing again. To live is to fulfill, to die is to love. The children's singing turned to conversation. To live is to fulfill? Asked little brother. To die is to love? Asked big sister. It is a riddle, answered big brother. What is the meaning? Maria asked. Perhaps we should consider the meaning of its reverse, Robert proposed. To die is to love is to fulfill, Michael considered. The light grew brighter. Surrendering life is the fulfillment of love, Maria contemplated, and brighter. Conquering death is love's fulfillment, Robert pondered. And brighter and brighter. What does it all mean? Asked little brother. It's a mystery, answered big sister. A wonder, answered big brother. The light grew brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. The voice continued to sing with a loving whisper. None is good but love. Love is the source of all goodness. Surrender or rebel, with or against, communion or discord, the choice is yours. You must choose again and again. Choose wisely or foolishly. Your choices will be got. All will be got. All will be got. All will be got. Content with ears to hear, the mystery seekers remained silent. They surrendered their breath in reverent wonder. The big fish carried them towards their fulfillment. Adult rules. Number 1, kids don't make the rules. Number 2, kids have the power to choose. Number 3, sometimes it's fun to be a kid and sometimes it's not. Number 4, it's fun to be a kid when grandma pretends to be in charge. Number 5, wonder is filled with a quest for more. Number 6, proper purpose must be fulfilled to reach full potential. Number 7, suffer in silence. Number 8, speak up and listen carefully. Number 9, freedom consists in having the right to do what we ought. Number 10, meekness conquers weakness. Number 11, the purpose of goodness is to be good. Number 12, seek an objective above and beyond deceit. Number 13, all will be got. Number 14, where humility is, there also is wisdom. The children waved goodbye. Ichthys vanished into the mighty waters. Thank you, they shouted above the locomotion of the great river. The adventurers turned to face the majestic mountain. The golden city stood far away, yet it burned ever deeper inside the children's heart. Near the base of the mountain, an endless row of giant lions marched towards the great river. The giant lions bore lightened yokes of purpose plows. These stoic creatures were adorned with amber manes of fire bursting out like sunflowers in full bloom. An expanding fruit forest sprung from each fresh track of their steadfast paws. These mysterious trees blossomed to the height of skyscrapers with each proceeding step of the lion army. Time and space unveiled the eternal now, the eternal present, the union of life, abundant in the stillness of everlasting commitment. With each step forward, the children rose to their restored ideal grown-up selves. Brave Knight Robert and radiant Queen Maria returned to the shoulders of gentle giant Michael. The children drove onward to meet the venerable Leos. With earnest effort, the children arrived at the royal line of lions. Upon arrival, the giant lions halted. A welcoming sound of hush-filled purrs was heard from the 10,000 heralds. Words were not needed for the respect exchanged at the garden entrance. Grateful breath was united to the warm wind that danced with the leaves of the fruitful forest. The giant lions reverently laid prostrate for the adventurers' approach. The purrs faded to silence as the children entered the wonderful wilderness. The world behind them disappeared. Not knowing any other direction, all they could, should, and would do was walk forward. Michael, with Robert and Maria upon his shoulders, entered into the dense forest with joyful stillness. A drumbeat echoed with each step. When Michael raised his view on the tips of his toes, the beckoning mountain could be seen beyond the vast expanse of towering treetops. Queen Maria and Sir Robert looked down to confirm the path of giant Michael's stride. They witnessed a sparkling stream accompanying their straight path. Their drumbeat melded with the whip of the stream's accompaniment. Michael's stride widened, as did the eyes, ears, and hearts of the grown adventurers. Glittering birds, butterflies, and praying mantises cheered the children onward by a humming canticle that coincided with the children's bounding cadence. Giant little brother's stride never faltered. With each fervent step he moved faster and faster and faster than faster. What started as walking soon became jogging, then running. Quickly, before he knew it, before he could think to do it, lickety-split, he was sprinting. The children's hearts, minds, and bodies moved forward with the focus of champion racers striving towards their enduring prize. The pace slowed to a halt at the last row of the lion crop. Every sound evaporated as the adventurers returned to their children bodies. In the stillness, a quiet song rose out from the roots of a tree that sang ancient wisdom. The children became aware of a monk resting against the singing tree, whistling in harmony with the ancient song. No one takes my life from me. I lay it down. I lay it down. No one takes my life from me. I lay it down. I lay it down. Similar to the scroll song, the tree song remained alive as conversation unfolded. Are you wise enough to know almost everything? Robert asked the monk. I have been granted the wisdom to understand that I know nothing, the monk answered. The monk exited the tree line. He faded out of sight. The song turned to sweet silence. The children followed. Number 15. We are delivered by the charity of one another. Soon after starting their ascent up the mountain, they began to hear the boom of rolling thunder. It was the sound of an avalanche. However, the mountain was not covered with snow. They knew it could not be an avalanche. Before another thought could spark in their minds, they observed a battalion of war horses charging out of the mist at the middle of the mountain. The adventurers stood still. As horses neared, the invisible riders were made visible in flashing glimpses. Mounted on each horse were pious knights leaning to battle with weapons drawn behind waving banners of devotion to justice. The iron cross waved with the mighty ethos of the warrior's yes. When the holy crusaders charged past the children, Robert raised his shoulders. Michael grew a few inches taller, and Maria's heart welled up with loving admiration. The children breathed in the gift of holy surrender. Driven to lay their lives down, the adventurers continued their journey to the Golden City. When they reached the middle of the mountain, the sound of blasting trumpets filled the air. It was then that the mist before them parted to reveal the enormous regiment of mystical mammoths. Each of them were adorned with a colorful variety of sapphire skin. Their tusks gleamed, their snouts blew the call of the Golden City. After 7 calls blasted in disciplined unison, 6 members of the regiment faced one another. The 6 mammoths in front of the children formed 3 swings for the young adventurers to claim. Blessed to accept this invitation, they quickly took their seats. The swings steadily swung higher and higher. The children looked at one another to share the moment. Their sight then lifted to take in the wonder of the Golden City. Lively shouts exploded with each rise of higher and higher and highest height. Yo! Woohoo! Whee! The trumpets blasted again and again with each shout. Upon the 7th explosion of the highest height, the mystical mammoths launched the adventurers in the air, up, and away, way up the mountain they soared. With arms stretched towards their irresistible destination, the children's faces beamed glorious joy. Upon their graceful landing at the top of the mountain, they were astonished to find themselves at the entrance gate of the Golden City. Number 16. Salvation is communal participation in the conquest of death. The Golden Wall was strong and tall. It circled the mountain top with only one single entry. Along with the endless wall, the entrance gate appeared to be made of royal, clear-as-glass jasper. Facing the transcendent portal, the children's hearts were completely freed. Without fear, the fulfillment of their wondersomefull quest awaited them beyond the threshold of the miraculous gate. The bold adventurers began to know what was pulling them all along. Michael walked to the entrance and touched the jasper door with his finger. The gate slid open into the wall above. "It's open to us," he proclaimed. Robert and Maria joined hands with Michael, then made their way inside the Golden Kingdom. The open gate was just wide enough for the seekers to enter at the same time, united, 3 as one. The children could see that the golden path beneath their feet was a narrow bridge high above still waters. The bridge was the width of the threshold behind them. Their enduring procession into the heart of the Golden Kingdom was a steady path that led to the breathtaking temple. The temple shined with blinding power from the source of all that is. Mysteriously, the adventurers were able to see everything clearly. They absorbed it all. The architecture of the Golden Kingdom expressed a dedication to honor that than which no greater can be conceived. Composed of solid gold, it was one unbroken, unbreakable structure. From the wall to the gate, to the path, to the blinding light of the temple, there was no sign of division. Every inch and every ounce of the golden city was joined in such perfect union that it all seemed to be cast from a single mystical mold. The Golden Kingdom, surpassing piece by piece natural assembly, was a supernatural manifestation of eternal creation, consisting of purest gold, clear as glass, yet strong as an unmovable wonder. The fitting response of the beholder could only be awe and surrender. The long walk forward lasted forever with each step and ended in the blink of an eye when they reached the eternity tunnel. Within the tunnel spun waves of brilliant fire. When they finally made it through to the other side, they set foot within the heart of the Golden Kingdom. The bridge had reached its end at the other side of the tunnel. The adventurers stepped into a golden courtyard. This forum sancti was filled with countless immense blazing warriors who pointed their flaming swords towards the golden temple. Their fire merged in solidarity of life's great meaning. The sea of burning messengers parted to clear a path for the seekers. The message of their brandished zeal was clear. It was a message that bolstered the children's still distant journey to the center of the Golden Kingdom. At the center of the courtyard stood the tremendous golden temple, higher than any structure ever seen before, in the shape of a perfect cube. Its roof was an unquenchable fire. The fire generated flames that surpassed all spectrum. From the tunnel to the temple, the adventurers followed the inspired path, the straight and narrow aisle amidst the blazing guardians. Beautiful music grew louder as they drew closer. The temple entrance was wide open. The children soaked in the temple song as they further advanced towards the temple's inner sanctum. From the entrance to the inner sanctum, the temple expressed every sign and wonder of creation. Etched in the walls, shone in the enormous hero statues, and shining bright through the giant stained glass windows. When the young seekers finally arrived in the core of the Golden Kingdom, at the center of the wonderful temple, they were welcomed into a great banquet. Every goodness ever known, every joy to be known, overflowed from the countless guests. Sharing the feast, angelic music played at perfect volume as everyone communed in triumphant celebration. When the celebrants were not speaking with one another or basking in the victorious communion of truth and beauty, they joined in singing the glorious temple song. Sanctus, 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 yes, yes, yes. 1 in 3, 3 is 1, love in all from love, Salah, Sanctus, Sanctus, Sanctus. The children sat at a table occupied by an armless knight, a young nun, and a farmer dressed in a coat of muskox. "Welcome," greeted the farmer. "My name is Giuseppe." "My name is Robert," Big Brother replied. "This is my sister Maria and my brother Michael." The knight then introduced himself. My name is Francis. The nun followed. I am Little Flower. We are pleased to meet you, Maria said. The pleasure is ours, said the knight. How has your quest been? Asked the nun. Adventureful, answered Michael. Adventureful, smiled the farmer. That's a good word. Any good fights? Asked the knight. Yes, answered Robert. We fought against an evil wolf. We defeated the evil Lamech, Michael added. Congratulations, the farmer cheered. Evil ought to be beaten with fists. You don't count or measure the blows. You strike as you can. We crushed his head with our heel, Maria declared. He died the death, Michael added. We lived the life, Robert proclaimed. May I share the code with you? Asked the knight. Yes, answered the seekers. Be without fear in the face of your enemies. Stand brave and upright, that the Lord may love thee. Speak the truth always, even if it means your death. Protect the helpless and do no wrong. The farmer lifted his cup. To life! Every banquet guest lifted their cups high. To life! The children drank it all in. As the children lowered their cups, the nun shared her wisdom. Use the gifts you have received and pass on the love that has been given to you. Thank you, the adventurers responded. Thanks be to God, the farmer concluded. It was then that a ladder made of light appeared to the children. The celebration continued as the farmer offered direction. Climb, dear little ones. Enjoy the view on high. The adventurers climbed each step higher and higher and higher than higher. They climbed through the thicker-than-thick gold roof of the temple. The roof was made of purest light. As the children climbed through the light, they could clearly see the sky above. When they climbed up the sky, the temple song became a quiet pulse. Their higher-than-higher climb brought them all the way to the top of a rainbow cloud. With a confidence surpassing understanding, they launched themselves to the next cloud above and then continued their flight to the next upper cloud and then to the next again and again and again, leaping onto rainbow clouds like giant bouncy rocket steps that flowed from cloud to cloud. A loving whisper was heard at each step.
What have you learned?
You must face your fears, answered Michael. You must fight evil, or others will perish, answered Maria. You must work together to conquer death, answered Robert.
You have learned well,
the whisper responded.
Salvation is communal. Salvation is crucial. Salvation is continual.
Yes, answered the children.
Very well,
the whisper responded.
You have given your yes all the way to the end of your quest. Now give your yes to the beginning.
The last leap of the adventurers landed them inside a cloud. There was no fear inside that cloud. The seekers sat down and rested as though they were home, little sheep abiding in the bosom of the sacred Lamb. Their bedroom sound machine could be heard from a distance that grew nearer and nearer as the rainbow light subtly melted into the darkness. The children remained at peace. The light of the closet lantern gradually appeared. Big Brother, Big Sister, and Little Brother had returned safe and sound to their Wondersomefull home. There they enjoyed the beautiful mystery of the little light's great perfection. Adult rules. Number 1, kids don't make the rules. Number 2, kids have the power to choose. Number 3, sometimes it's fun to be a kid and sometimes it's not. Number 4, it's fun to be a kid when Grandma pretends to be in charge. Number 5, wonder is filled with a quest for more. Number 6, proper purpose must be fulfilled to reach full potential. Number 7, suffer in silence. Number 8, speak up and listen carefully. Number 9, freedom consists in having the right to do what we ought. Number 10, meekness conquers weakness. Number 11, the purpose of goodness is to be good. Number 12, seek an objective above and beyond deceit. Number 13, all will be got. Number 14, where humility is, there also is wisdom. Number 15, we are delivered by the charity of one another. Number 16, salvation is communal participation in the conquest of death. Big Brother finished whispering the 16th rule when the 17th rule surfaced upon the page. Big Sister whispered the rule out loud for her brothers to hear.
Number 17. The true end is the true beginning.
When Maria finished reading the 17th rule, the 18th rule rose to the surface. The number appeared, but no words followed.
Number 18 is missing words,
Michael quietly observed. The children waited. The words remained hidden.
There are no words yet, said Robert. But there will be, Maria added with a smile. On our next Wondersomefull Quest, Michael joyfully concluded. Michael, it's time for you to carefully return the Wondersomefull book to Papa and Mama's room.
Michael very carefully brought the book back to where he had gotten it, and then returned to the closet.
Good work, Michael, said Maria. Thank you, said Michael. Let's go to bed now, whispered Robert.
Robert turned off the lantern. Big Brother, Big Sister, and Little Brother filed into their bedroom, kissing Grandma along the way to their beds. The adventurers blew kisses to one another before resting their heads. Wonderful dreams awaited them as they lay down to sleep. Papa and Mama made their quiet entrances, pleased to find their loved ones in peaceful repose. Papa admired Mama's tender care as she gave each child a gentle tuck-in. Grandma joined Papa as Mama finished.
Thank you, Papa whispered to Grandma. You're welcome, Grandma whispered to Papa.
Mama escorted Grandma out of the bedroom. Papa stayed to give thanks for the sleeping treasures.
Sleep well, Papa lovingly prayed. I love you to heaven and back, with all my heart and then some. May you always seek the golden kingdom.
Fail until you succeed. Don't give up. Fight for your purest freedom. Your suffering is meaningful when it is meant for that which is far greater than self-esteem, far greater than sentiment, greater than pleasure. Surrender to that greatness. Lay your life down for it. Give yourself completely to love. Only then will you truly know love. If all is forgotten, please remember that Papa loves you all the way to heaven and back, again and again and again.